Alright, hi everybody, welcome to class. I just wanted to make a few videos just to help you with the homework. I think it might make it a little bit less challenging if we have some examples. Really quickly, I want to just talk about the various companies that they've talked about in the chapter. You have service companies, and that would be somebody selling services, so for example, like an attorney. And then you have merchandising companies, and that would be somebody like a bookstore. The product's already made and they're simply selling a finished product. They did not make the product themselves. And then then the next item, and that's what we're going to pretty much be covering, are your manufacturing companies. And those are the people that are actually making the product. So that's the difference between the types of companies. So the first thing we want to cover are the differences between variable and fixed costs. So if you look at the example I put up there, variable costs are going to remain constant on a per unit basis. So for example, let's say I'm buying pens, and the pens cost $1 each. If I buy 100 pens, it's going to cost me $100. If I buy 200 pens, it's going to cost me $200. So my cost per unit is constant, it's $1. But as my activity level changes, my total cost changes. This is all within a relevant range. So in this assumption, we're assuming the cost does not change per unit. If I go outside the relevant range, so let's say when I'm buying these for $1, somebody says if you buy 10,000 of them, we'll sell them for 80 cents a unit. At that point, I'm outside my relevant range, and this cost data no longer holds true. Okay, that's how variable costs work. Fixed costs are exactly the opposite. Fixed costs, your total cost remains constant, but as your activity level changes, your cost per unit will change. So for total cost, let's say I buy an x-ray machine, or I rent an x-ray machine, and that x-ray machine costs me $10,000. If I perform 1,000 or 10,000 x-rays, my total cost is still $10,000. But if I perform 1,000 x-rays, my cost per x-ray is $10. If I perform 5,000 x-rays, my cost per x-ray is $2. And that same relevant range data holds. So if, for example, I can only perform 10,000 x-rays with this one machine, and I need to rent 2 machines, now my total cost is $20,000, and I've gone out of the relevant range. Okay, so hopefully that explains variable and fixed costs. The next example I have, and I just want to go through this real quick, it's an example I hope that will help you with homework problem 2. And I've just given you some various costs, and we're going to just kind of go over together if they're variable or fixed. And the first one they give us is small glass plates used for lab tests at a hospital. And they tell us that's a variable cost. The reason for that is the more lab tests we conduct, the more glass plates we'll use. Straight line depreciation of a building, that's a fixed cost. If my depreciation is $10,000 a year, that's not changing. It will remain constant. That total amount will remain constant. Top management salaries, again, it's a fixed cost. It's going to remain constant. Electrical costs of running machines, that's a variable cost. The more machines I run, more electricity I'm going to use. Advertising of products and services, that is a fixed cost. And when we're talking about that, advertising costs would be a selling and marketing